Hi, welcome to my channel, The Naughty Giraffe. My name's Glenna and I live in Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada with my two dogs, one of whom is misbehaving terribly at the moment. I'm hoping that he's going to settle down in a few minutes. The other one is quite sick, so I don't think we'll hear anything from him. But anyway, this is episode 6. If it's your first time here, welcome. If you've come back, then welcome back. I've got a couple of finished objects to talk to you about today and some one work in progress. And yeah, that's about it. I don't think I've ever only had one work in progress before. I've been really busy. It's been a crazy month since I filmed last. I also work as a stained glass artist, so I've been busy with Christmas shows and crocheting hats for little snowmen that I make. Made a lot of little hats and scarves, but I'm not counting them in my finished object count today. But I am counting this hat, which I just finished. It's called the Sarandi. It's by, who is it by here? Where is her name? Yoko Hatta. It came to me in a newsletter that I get from a local yarn shop just not too far away called A Twisted Yarn in the town of Vernon. I'm on their newsletter and they send out a great newsletter every month. Actually, it's wonderful. They always have links to patterns and yarns and things. It's a great selling tool for them because I saw this hat and knew instantly that I wanted to knit it. It's knit in Malabrigo Mecca, I believe. Yes, it's Malabrigo Mecca. It's a bulky yarn and it's knit on like 6.5 millimeter needles. So as you can imagine, it knits up very fast, especially because it uses slip stitches. I don't know if you can see the details in the hat too well, but it's honestly, I think it would be a great project if you have any young knitters or people that are new to knitting who are looking for a project that will knit up fairly quickly, that's fairly easy. They've listed the pattern as being moderate in difficulty, but I really don't see that it is. It's, if you know how to slip a stitch and you know how to knit, and you can purl to do the ribbing on the band, that's pretty much all that you need to know. It's I think I cast this on like a Saturday afternoon and finished it by Sunday night. So, and I'm not the world's fastest knitter, so it gives you an idea how quick it knits up. I think if I make it again, what I would do is I would reverse where I've used the colors I've used. Like I used the lighter color for the contrast color and the darker color for the main color, which, what were the colors I used? Oh yeah, it was Indiecta number 416 and, oh, where's the other one gone? Oh, there it is. And Solace number 809, and honestly I can't tell you which one's which at the moment because I can't remember, but what I did notice is that if you look at the photo that they have on Ravelry with the project, they have used the lighter color as the main color and the darker color for the contrast color, and I think I actually like that better. And I would probably, if I knit another one, I would use a color that had like more of a contrast and knit it in reverse, I think. I started off with 100-gram skein of each, and I had, I believe it was like 61 grams left of the main color by the time I finished, and I had only 31 grams of the contrast color left, but I did use the contrast color for the pom-pom, which it's funny because you can see how the white, like when they dye it, the core of the yarn, it's not, I don't know how many ply it is. It's like it's not like a plied yarn. It's very interesting stuff to work with. Very soft and squishy, and it's just a really nice warm hat. I really love it, and I highly recommend it. And like I said, if you have any young knitters that are looking for a project that it's almost like instant gratification to keep them encouraged, or you need a Christmas hat knit up really quickly, it's a great pattern for that. Very highly recommend it. So that's finished item number 1. Yeah, I think I said I knitted on 6.5 millimeter needles. I can't remember if I said that or not. But anyhow, oh, there's my old dog Finnegan. He's quite sick, so he's just hanging out on the couch with me today. That's why I'm filming over here instead of where I usually film. Second finished item is the stripe pipe sweater by Veronika Lindberg, also known as Kutofa Kika or Kika Knits. I cast this one on, when was it? About 6 weeks ago, I guess. And it's been a fun knit. I really enjoyed it. I love the way knitting stripes works because you're just so motivated to get to the next color that you tend to knit longer than you would on it. I used the Drops Sky yarn for this. It's a baby alpaca mix. It's a blown yarn. And I remember I knit a humulus sweater in this stuff. And I remember at the time when I knit the humulus thinking, I will never knit with this yarn again because it's just so easy to have it split on you, and it's just not I don't know, I found it not the easiest yarn to work with, but the results are that you get this sweater that is so soft that you can pretty much wear it right next to skin without issue. So I ended up doing it in this, the Air, and I used a different yarn by Lang for the merino for the stripes. And there I took the word of the woman at the yarn shop, Kelowna Yarn Needlecraft, said that the two were interchangeable, and they are, but they aren't. The Lang yarn is just a tiny bit thinner. So when I knit with it, I knit very loosely to try and make up the difference. I'll talk a little bit about the construction of the sweater. It is knit contiguously, which means that you're constantly picking up stitches as you go. Like you start at the shoulder here and knit across the back, and then you knit down till you get to like where the armholes are. And then you place that on hold, and then you pick up stitches all along the shoulder and knit the front to the neckline on one side, and then you pick up stitches and you knit to the front on the other side. Then you join those, and then you knit down until you can join it in the round and knit all the way down. I had a lot of trouble picking up stitches on the shoulder to make it look neat. Thankfully, I know that this yarn is very forgiving from when I've worked with it before, and you can see where the line here where I picked up the stitches. It's not the greatest, but this yarn is so fuzzy that I know it won't really show at all within a couple of wearings and stuff. Also with this yarn, I remembered from when I worked with it before that it stretches quite a bit when you block it. And so I made the size 2 of the pattern, and I knew I didn't want quite as much positive ease as she was suggesting. And so, yeah, I mean, I come to here, so I've got, a little bit of positive ease, but not too much. I wanted enough that the shoulders drop properly, and yeah, but I think if I was to knit it again, I would actually knit the size 3 and make it really oversized. This yarn stretched, but not as much as I thought it was going to stretch. And initially, I confess, when I pulled it off the blockers and put it on for the first time yesterday, I was sort of disappointed because I thought that it would be a little bit bigger than it is. Or maybe I'm just getting fatter, I don't know. Whatever it is, I'm still happy with it. I'll still wear it because it's just what I wanted. It's a nice, cozy, warm sweater for the winter that I just love. So anyway, yeah, it's knit on 4mm needles in DK, and yeah, there's a lot of twisted ribbing for the collars, and for the bottom is I didn't do as much as it called for. I think I cut it short by I think it was supposed to be 4 inches of ribbing, and I kind of crapped out after 3 that I was kind of done with it. And I probably should have done the 4, but I didn't. Regrets. But anyhow, so yeah, I don't know much more to say about it. Just, yeah, after you finish the body, then you pick up for the sleeves going around, and she gives a very clear idea of how to pick up the stitches on the sleeves of what your count should be, and for the neckline when you do the collar. And here I had this, that was one modification I made, I almost forgot, was I did the original collar band calls for a switch in color. You're supposed to switch and put the contrast color in, and then do a Italian bind off. Well, I did all that, and I did the Italian bind off, and by the time I finished, it was, well, that's my lunch ready. It'll just have to sit for a bit. Anyway, by the time I did the Italian bind off, it was too tight to get over my head. I don't know what I did wrong. And trying to do the Italian bind off with this yarn was a nightmare. And I ended up having to rip the entire collar out because I couldn't see properly. It's just so fluffy. It's not the easiest yarn to work with, and I had to cut the rim off of the Italian binding. And then I started trying to unwind it so that I could just pick up the stitches to knit on, and I just eventually just gave up and just pulled the whole thing out and started over again. So the neck took a bit. And then I did the same thing for the length at the bottom. But thankfully I was smart enough to put a lifeline in. Thank you. I can't even remember. I was watching somebody's YouTube video while I was knitting the other night, and they were talking about lifelines, and I had never done one before. And I wasn't sure how long I wanted this sweater. I was thinking that I wanted it, quite a bit longer than what was called for. So I put a lifeline in, and then I added a couple more stripes. And before I started the ribbing, I tried it on again, and then I realized that I didn't really want the extra length at all. And so, but with the lifeline, I was able to just pull those couple of stripes out, and I was right back with my stitches, except for the fact that my lifeline broke. And I had to, figure out where a couple of the stitches were and get them all, but I got them all loaded on, so it was okay, and I was able to finish it. But yeah, lifelines, wow, they really work wonderful if you're not sure on a length. Boy, oh boy, do I recommend that. What a great trick. The other trick I did with this sweater that I was so grateful that I did was Stephen West has a tutorial on how to weave in your ends as you go. And I wove in all my ends as I went. I didn't try and carry the yarn down the side for each one. I just broke it for each row and just wove the ends in. And boy, was I glad I did when I got to the end. And I had, the only ends I had to weave in were for the cuffs and the neck and the waistband at the bottom, and that's it. So that was lovely to have that done. So yes, if you knit the stripe pipe sweater or the stripe pipe dress, highly recommend weaving your ends in as you go. Okay, next up for finished objects is a pair of socks. I had just started them in the last episode and they are done. They match my sweater, don't they? I seem to be on, I think it was autumn or something that I just got into this autumnal color craze or something, but I had actually bought this yarn in the summer. It was, it's by Color Story Yarns, and the color was called Hummingbird. And then I did the heel, toe, and cuff in lichen and lace in their black walnut color. Did 20 rows of 2x2 ribbing for the top, slip stitch heel, and just a regular toe with the Kitchener at the bottom. But yeah, I love these. I think they're like one of my favorite pairs of socks I've ever made. I thought they turned out so beautiful. As usual, I knit them on Magic Loop 2.25 millimeter, and yeah, just my favorite vanilla sock pattern that I usually use, only adjusting the when I got to the gusset, because I have a high arch and I tend to decrease every third row instead of every second row for the first couple of decreases. And then, but other than that, I pretty much follow the pattern. And of course, well, changing color for the heel, toe, and cuff. But I will have links to that pattern in case you need a good vanilla sock pattern. I'll put it in the description box below. Oh, there goes my captain's clock. There's always a clock going off in my episodes, it seems. It just happens. And it's just 12:30 here in the afternoon, which doesn't really explain why there's 7 bells going off, but it's got a very weird chiming system. It's an old captain's clock that belonged to my grandfather, who was a sea captain. So anyhow, yeah, that's it for the socks. Other finished object, I've been busy making dish towels. Oh, apparently I have an end I forgot to weave in. Just, yeah, trying to get ready for Christmas, just doing the traditional dishcloth thing. But my other thing that I'm really, really excited about is there's I don't know if you watch this YouTuber, it's called ATP Atelier. And I find her videos very, very, very interesting and full of good tips. I really enjoy her stuff. I'll see if I can find the video I'm talking about and I'll put a link to it. But she was talking about, she had a challenge on, I think it was either for the month of October or the month of November, where to take a project that you had knit that you weren't happy with and to fix it. And so anyway, I knit this sweater here about, oh gosh, I would have to say close to 10 years ago. It's a cardigan. It's a Noro knits. Actually, I'll put it on so you can see it. So it's quite beautiful. And it actually goes with my hat a little better. I still need another button for it. But oh, here's the book actually that it came in, that I did. It was a knitting Noro, and it was just the basic chunky cardigan, I believe it was called. And so I knit this, and it was back in my kind of, you know, basically all I really knit at the time was blankets. And I was one of the first garments that I made. And I had never heard of the word blocking before. And so when I finished it, it was kind of hideous looking because it's all seamed. It looked horrid. And so anyhow, this is the picture of what it's supposed to look like. And so anyway, I decided that I would make that my project to fix. And so I did. I blocked it, and it is now this like just gorgeous cardigan. I've been wearing it nonstop since I did it. Okay, so it was the 75% wool, 25% silk. The Noro Ino. I'll put the description. I'll put it in. I'll put it in underneath so you can see it. But it's it is so soft and so warm and just absolutely delightful. The only thing I have left to do is I need to buy buttons for it because I didn't have I didn't have enough buttons. Well, I almost forgot about my whip. I am currently making the Shift by Andrea Mowry. When I knit my Trinigan sweater by her, if you looked at the picture of it that she has with the pattern, it shows her wearing it with the Shift, at the Shift cowl. And so I knew that I wanted to make one of those to go with it. And so I've started one, and I'm almost halfway through at this point. It's I call it my wandering whip at the moment because I tend to only work on it when I'm hiking with the dogs. But I'm making it with this. I'm doing it a little different from what the pattern calls for. I decided to use this my dog ate the label. It's like when you were a kid and you'd say, my dog ate the homework, which, they didn't. Well, my dog would, my puppy Gallagher would. But anyway, I used this Queensland Rainbow Beach yarn as one of the colors. And once I started, it changes color so much that I decided to just stick with the one main color and just alternate the accent colors all the way through with, I'm using the Zauberball, what's it called? The Schloppel, I have a couple of different ones I'm using. Here, I'll just show you the yarn, it's easier. I've got, because I was originally going to use the green one and the blue one and where did it go? And the pinky blue one. I was originally going to make it in these three colors, but I found that the blues were too close in this, and so I went back to the yarn store looking. And I found the Queensland, which this is what it looks like caked up. You can see that how it changes color going through. And anyway, I ended up deciding that I would just keep that as the main color and just do the accents all the way through. So it's I just sort of, depending on what color the Queensland has gone, is what I'm using as an accent color at the moment. I think it'll turn out fine, whatever. I'll be happy with it, but I kind of really wanted a bright colored one too, so I really splurged at the yarn store. I didn't get the yarn that she calls for, because the spin cycle, because it was too expensive, but they had this stuff which is a lot like spin cycle, only it's not, and it's actually softer. It's called Manos or Mara Manos. I don't know. There's the label. But I've decided that as soon as I finish this shift, I'm gonna make one in this, like in the really bright, vibrant colors. So then I'll have two to choose from. I'll have a more muted one with the Queensland, and this one for when I'm in a really colorful mood, depending on what coat I'm wearing or whatever. So yeah, that's it for whips right now. Other than that, the only other thing I have a couple of acquisitions that I would really love to share with you, because they have, well, one of them has been a game changer for me, and that is this thing. I'm not a big fan of supporting Amazon. However, or no, did I get this on Amazon? Maybe it was no. Yeah, I think it was Amazon. I'll put a link if I can find it, but this thing is amazing. It goes around my neck, and it's a little light so that I can knit at night, and it's amazing how much easier it is to knit when you can see what you're working on, especially when you get older. It's just, I love this thing. It's got a USB charging port right here so that I can just keep it recharged, and if I really need light, it's got, like, you know, double guns here, and it's really bright. It's just absolutely wonderful. I love it. I am so happy with it. I can't recommend them enough. The other purchase I got was a frivolous one, and I'm really excited that I did. It's by a Canadian company called Firefly Notes, and it's a stitch marker advent calendar, which I've never had an advent calendar as an adult before. I think as a kid I had a couple that, you know, were full of chocolate, and I do love chocolate, so, you know, I was kind of hoping there might be a chocolate in there with the stitch markers, but it's healthier if there isn't. So I will share what the stitch markers look like when I get opening them. But for now, I think I'm gonna sign out because my pup Gallagher is getting a little restless and wanting attention, and the old guy is just not doing too well today. So I will sign out, but I wish you happy knitting, and it'll probably be after Christmas before I am back again. So I'm wishing you a happy Christmas, and yeah, we'll see what happens in December. I know I've got stockings to knit still. I've got some more hats to knit, and some fingerless gloves to get done, and maybe some mittens too. So I'll be working on smaller projects, which will be nice, because I mean, I just finished the Trinigan sweater before I dove into the stripe hype, and before that it was the white stag sweater and our silver stag sweater by Drops, and which I get to wear because it'll be Christmas. And anyway, yeah, that's it for now. I wish you all the best, and I will hope to see you back on here again soon. If you enjoyed this video at all, please hit like or subscribe. It would be nice, and a big thank you to everyone who has watched this far. Okay, bye for now.